Alrighty then, well, you have found the Do You Even Laugh podcast. Now, for a little refresher on what this thing is, it's half comedy, half fitness, and half everything else under the sun. I'm pretty sure that all adds up according to math. And if I'm going to bring a guest on this podcast, I might as well do it right. So, first guest ever on Do You Even Laugh? The talented, the hilarious, the vivacious Sue Costello.
Vivacious. Now I have to be vivacious, right?
I like that word. It's a good word.
I like it too. It's a good word. I like it.
Well, Sue, thank you so much for coming on.
Are you kidding me? You've been so helpful and kind to me.
Oh, go on.
Over the years, you have. And I always remember. And then when you asked me to do this, I was like, yes, I will do it for you.
Well, thank you. Now, so much to cover, really so much to cover in a small amount of time, so let's just get right into it. So let's cover the comedy portion first.
Okay.
Now, you're obviously a great stand-up. You got your one-woman show. You got a TV show in the works, and you're going to be in a movie soon. So where should we start?
Well, that's how it works, I think. That's what happens. Well, it works that way. They say that like once something starts happening, a lot of things start happening. But in my case, I rebuilt it, and I have all the product. Like the one person, it's not like I'm just getting roles because of one thing.
Mm-hmm.
The play I've been working on for 20 years. My stand-up I've been doing for 30 years. The TV show, I had a TV show in 1998, and this is a lot of the reviews and everything said I was ahead of my time and that I should be the executive producer. And I went back and looked at them, and I was like, oh, they said that 20 years ago, and now here we are. Time's caught up, and the whole time I've been creating product and content. So content is queen.
Yeah, do you ever look back and just wonder what kind of ripple effect, like, just starting up at stand-up was? Like, first you just started doing stand-up, next thing you know, you're appearing on Tough Crowd with Colin Quinn, and now you have your own sitcom, and then, you get your own one-woman show. So isn't it strange how just, running a few things on a notepad just creates all of this?
Yes, that's what I want to tell people. Like the guy today at WAF, he was like, Sue, when you wrote the script for your show, he's like, how did you do it? Is it your first script? I'm like, it's the actual first script that I ever wrote by myself for TV. And he's
now,
like,
did you have any lessons, or did you look up how to do one?
Well, I had my old show script, so I knew that.
Okay, so you kind of based it off of those.
Yes. So I could see exactly how to write it, and then I looked up certain things, and I already knew though, because the one thing I knew how to do when I had my TV show was to break the story, which is get the emotionality underneath why you're doing this TV show. Like, it's easy to write the jokes. Breaking the story is the hard part.
Now, can you give a short synopsis of what it's going to be like?
No, and you keep asking me that, and I like that you keep trying every which way. You keep trying in the office, you try on text, you're trying on the podcast.
I try to be like a grammar ninja. It's like, is it not about this? Is it not about that?
No, I'm contractually, I can't. I'm they don't want me talking about it, and then somebody.
All right, so you can't necessarily bring up what is in it, but can you?
It reflects me. It reflects my personality. It reflects the idea of inclusion rather than exclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So it's inclusive instead of exclusive.
Yes.
Because for many years, people have been trying to be very exclusive. I want to go to the exclusive resort. I want to go to the exclusive table. I want to get bottle service. And I'm like, well, why don't I like it the other way?
Have you been to an all-inclusive resort where everything is included?
No, I've never been.
Oh, my God, it's so good. We went to this one place in the DR where you just pay one flat fee and you can just go up to a bar. It's like, hey, give me this, or unlimited.
So that's inclusive and it's not exclusive. So we like that, right? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
I'm talking about including people, all sorts of different types of people, everybody.
Well, that too, yeah. Like just try to include everybody, and now that's like the end goal.
But that's how I've always been. I've been invited to parties where other people that were in the same kind of group weren't invited, and I haven't gone. And the people that weren't invited were like, thank you, Sue. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to be part of that. I don't like it. I personally don't like it.
It kind of reminds me of like lunch back at school.
Yes.
Like you're just eating your lunch by yourself, invited to the cool kids table.
And I want all those people to be invited to my table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about the kids with peanut allergies?
They can come too. Everybody can come.
All right. So are peanuts allowed?
I don't know. We'd have to see, and I would have to. I'm a good I'm a good problem solver, so I would figure out a way to make everybody happy in a way, but still maintain my own authenticity. That's the key.
EpiPens.
What?
Complimentary EpiPens. All right, you just gave me that. What the hell?
I'm just gonna be quiet when you do your corny jokes.
Oh, no.
It's like you
It's
ask
no
me these
different
deep
from real
questions,
life.
and then I tell you, and then you're like, "I'm gonna do a corny joke."
All
I'm
right,
like,
I'm
"Okay."
chopping that out.
No, you can't. You can't edit this. This has to be
Of course
natural.
I'm not.
You can't, because that's people do that, and then it's like, well, the conversation flows because of what goes on.
Oh,
Unless
yeah.
something's really bad,
Yeah, I mean,
you can't edit that out.
yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna leave all of this in.
That's so egotistical of you.
It is. I mean, like I can be a little bit of a perfectionist. Plus,
But that's not perfectionist. That's you covering your own.
I don't do bad jokes.
I mean, but let's just stop on that for a second, because that's exactly why I want to do what I'm doing with my TV show, because everybody is trapped in that. Not everybody, but a lot of the people are trapped in what you just did. This perfectionism. I can't show any vulnerability because people are going to attack me. Oh my God, I can't do it. I can't do it. And people are stuck editing everything and doing their filters on their Instagram pictures, and like everybody just keeps going further and further away from who they really are. And so what I'm going to do is just do the complete opposite of that and go, let's show the sides of us that aren't so
all
great.
the good and all
Yes.
the flaws. Because I hate when I catch myself doing that. I mean, you caught it before I did, but like whenever I catch myself, I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you?
So
Like,
then you
what?
beat yourself up overdoing it. See, it's an endless just a shit show.
Yeah, like part of my brain's like, oh, you should use like like this filter, but another part of me is like, dude, just put it up. Filters don't really matter. Nobody's got get an extra like because of a filter.
But that's what's happening to our society.
It's
Girls
gross.
are going into the plastic surgery with surgeons with the picture with the filter and saying, "Can you make my face look like this?"
It's just, I mean, actually, this kind of segues into another thing I want to talk about, because like you've been in and around Hollywood before. Now, I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. Just I want to see it for myself one day. But could you like describe like what level of like, I guess, fakeness exists out there? Like in that realm.
Well, that's a loaded question, and that's
Yeah.
like guiding me to talk about putting something down as opposed to talking about something positive. So can we talk about it in a positive way?
Sure. Yeah.
Entertainment in general has led the way of what's gone on in the country now, because becoming a star is like it's like a goal now, as opposed to just something that people do.
Everybody wants to be famous. People get famous just for being on social media or whatever they decide, for playing video games and putting on YouTube. Suddenly, like, there's some guy that plays video games and now he makes millions of dollars just for talking over video games.
Right, and that's okay for him. That's what he does. And so all I want to do is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So if Hollywood does like keep everything behind the curtain and make sure everything looks perfect, I'm going to do the complete opposite. I'm going to open the curtain and show the mess. So that's what I'm doing.
I like that.
That's what I want to do, and that's what I've always done. I've always been like the underdog for people. I think it's egotistical and condescending to judge people for what they look like or what I think things should look like.
Yeah, it's kind of like the ending of Wizard of Oz. You see this big, scary green head, but then when Toto just pulls back the curtain, like you said, it's just some guy.
Everybody's just some person. We're all just some person. And even the fame thing, you can try to pretend that you're not just some person, but we all die.
I don't think anybody's just this one-dimensional
No.
like thing you conjured up in your head.
No.
Like nobody's like just a caricature.
No, and it's causing all the pain. If it wasn't causing as much pain, then people wouldn't be receptive to what I'm doing. But that's why, because I've always been doing this, and they didn't always receive me the way they're receiving me now. So what's happened is and that's why they said I was ahead of my time. Who would have known that time would catch up where the world is in more pain than it's ever been in?
Like I mean, can't think of a better time than now.
To be more authentic, to go the
to
complete
be
opposite.
like just full on, just real.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no, it's like stop. Like who are you trying to impress? Like
Everybody wants the freedom. I've been working it for years. Like I've been testing it and doing, making sure that I didn't just like go out there because I would never do that. That's how I do my stand up too. I'm very aware of my audience. I always consider other people. That's what my play is about. That's what my TV show is about. Instead of being in an Instagram picture where you're all by yourself, because that's the isolation and that kills. That's what's killing us all. I always consider other people, even when they're being, even if they say something or they deliver something in a harsh tone. I'm always like, well, Sue, listen to the message. Don't listen to the messenger all the time. And sometimes they're delivering something that I need to hear, even though it hurts my body the way they delivered it or something. So I'm having a lot more understanding of people. But I've always done it on stage. I could never go at somebody on stage and be like vicious to them.
Yeah, like I've seen a few people do that on stage, and they just crash and burn. They just kind of leave a negative vibe in the room.
But that's funny you say that, because a lot of times they won't crash and they'll kill, like everybody will laugh, but then the vibe is in the room, which is very I find that very interesting.
Yeah, as long as they're just playful with it, if somebody gets heckled, you don't like, oh fuck you, just like scream in their face.
But if you think about it, that's what's going on Twitter and everything in the world right now.
It's like because of that why I kind of grow to hate social media. Well, because everybody gets a kick out of just tearing each other, random strangers apart, just based off a difference of opinion. Right,
but that's addiction, what you're talking about.
It is.
Everybody says, I can't stand this, and they can't stop doing it. That's what happens with drug addicts. That's what happens with people who drink. That's an addiction.
Like, did you ever see a show Black Mirror?
Yes.
Did you see the social media one? The one with Ron Howard's daughter.
Yeah.
Where everything in life is based off like your social media score.
Yeah.
And like she makes sure her pictures are perfect, and she makes sure she rates every interaction she has as like 5 stars, and it just drives her mad the lower her score gets. And
but that's what the world. That's what advertising. That's what they're doing. That's what everybody's doing. But that's what always blows my mind. It's like the advertisers need money too. You can't just keep squeezing all the humanity out of everything. It's not going to work, because humanity is what gets everybody to come to your show, to come to your play. People want it. We're human. Yeah. So they're desensitizing. I keep saying a lot of the magazines and the newspapers and everybody, they're firing people. And I'm like, okay, well, the rich people, guys that own these companies, I'm like, okay, so who's going to buy the things that you're advertising in your magazine if nobody has any jobs or any money?
Yeah.
That is the simplest way I can put it, and it is the most truthful, and I've been saying it for years, and people have been like, what are you talking about? I don't understand what Sue's talking about. I don't get it. I'm like, it's very simple what I've been saying.
Yeah, like one little tweet or one unflattering picture that can just ruin you. Game over.
What do you mean?
Like people get in trouble just for small mundane stuff, like Kevin Hart. Like he got in trouble with that whole thing. He was supposed to host the Oscars, but then somebody dug through 8 years worth of tweets of his.
But that's because the whole country and years and years and years of this has been going on. So that's the only move is to attack, because everybody's been doing it. Yeah. Everybody's been. So they're trying to pretend like they haven't done it. So it's like somebody said on Twitter today that their therapist said it's like everybody's just throwing their self-loathing out into Twitter. And that's what I was going to say about the stand-up. If somebody heckles you and you have a lot of self-loathing, you're gonna heckle. You're gonna attack them, because that is what happens.
Yeah, you can just leave one comment on any tweet and just be waterboarded with this, just feed of just hatred. No, you're a this and you're a that, and I hope you die and blah blah blah. I'm like this that actually shows a part of people. Like you're not nobody on the internet or in real life is just this little angel. Like just because you're on this side or that side doesn't mean you're automatically right about everything.
But isn't that what I'm telling you that I'm doing, to reveal the humanity instead of doing the fake pretend and
nobody I feel like a lot of people don't want to show off their flaws, or at least
they're just afraid to, because they're afraid they're going to get attacked, like they're attacking people. That's what's going on.
They can give it, but they can't take it.
Well, the way you describe it is also very
I know it's a little negative and attacky.
It is. So you're going to get that back. And what I'm learning to do is see both sides of it and understand it, and then hold on to myself and be authentic. And it's working, because I needed to hold on to myself. I couldn't be wishy-washy. I see both sides, but I'm not wishy-washy at all about who I am.
Well, speaking of, full-on authenticity, I want to talk about that play now. Now, I still haven't seen it, because for whatever reason, whenever you come to town to do it, I am always somewhere else.
You're on vacation.
I'm on vacation, or I got booked on another gig, or whatever. So I'm making sure, next time we come to town, I leave that little day open, and I want to see it. Now you call it I Am Sue Costello. Now, No, I like how simple that title is, because it just kind of feels like it gives a lot of what you're talking about.
Authenticity.
Yep.
And owning who you are, and what I'm real. So and then my eyes are my my logo. The eyes are the window to the soul. So as you were saying, like how everything starts adding up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had no idea that this was all going to add up the way that it is with the play. I had no idea. I just kept going. I had no success with any of it really. It was I just kept going, and I don't know why I didn't quit. And now it's turning into this idea. So the new hashtag along with the show is I am Sue Costello with the eyes watch me.
Ooh.
And that has so many different layers to it, because the play is uncomfortable to watch sometimes because I show the painful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm really strong and like, don't take your eyes off of me. Don't go to sleep. Watch. And then you're going to be able to feel all your feelings inside. And then that's why it's called an experience, because when you come to the play, you experience your own feelings because I'm experiencing mine in front of you.
Yeah, so like you express like pretty much your whole history, and then people look at that and then relate to it, and then they by extension will feel what you're feeling up there.
And they feel free because I'm talking about when I was very mean to people, when I wasn't a great person, when I didn't do the best thing.
It's cathartic, isn't
for
it?
Everybody.
For everybody.
So, and that's why it's called I am Sue Costello. So the small am. So there's a Bible saying this is I am. Be still and know that I am God.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea of being still. Most people, it's like the essential of spirituality.
And isn't it also technically the shortest sentence in the English language?
What, be still?
I am.
I am. See?
Interesting.
Simple, right?
Simplicity at its finest.
Right? Mm-hmm. And that's what, so the play, I've been doing it for 20 years, and everybody's like, Sue, it's starting to get very, very simple. And I'm like, I was nervous that they weren't going to see how hard I worked on it. Everybody's like, Sue, that's your ego. That's you trying to get them to, they don't have to work. You work. You do it. And so the I am, the small am, is you can call it whatever you want. Love, whatever you want to call it. This connection, this humanity between us all. The small am is inside of all of us. And then it came from I am Spartacus. Remember when they all stand up for him? So I am Sue Costello. You are Anthony. How do you say your last name? Capaccio.
Oh my God.
I always forget how to say it.
I know, we've only known each other like what?
I know, but I've never said your last name.
I know. It's the Capo Bianco.
Oh yes, I have. When I've introduced you, Capo Bianco. So I am Anthony Capo Bianco. And the funny part is that men are buying the T-shirts more than anybody.
Really?
Yes.
Ooh.
And when men see the play, they're very, very, very moved by it.
The ones that say I am, or
the ones that say I am Sue Costello, but it's only small in the back.
Ooh.
And it's just a white T-shirt, and they love it.
Get me one.
They love it. Basketball players are buying it. Everybody all over the country. All these guys from all over the country. And I'm like, who? And that's another thing. Like, I didn't set out to say this. Like, I'm gonna be the woman who stands up for women, but also for men too. It's like so crazy to me. So it takes on its life of its own. So the men, they come to the play, and they're able to. They don't always get to express their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, they shift in a way that they've never shifted internally before. So they feel lighter. And then they're like, that was great. I thought I was going to see a chick play because I came with my girlfriend. And they're like, that was the best thing. Ah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like as far that's a part of, like, the male brain. Like, but that's still kind of, like, digs deep into, like, the old animalistic Neanderthal part of the brain where it's like, oh, we can't show any emotion, can't show weakness. Where it'd be like, no, just dead-eyed Easter Island head.
But that's part of the reason why we're having so much violence and so much problems in the country and everywhere. Things just have to change, and I just feel like the change can be humanity, going back to our humanity.
And both the play and your show, which we won't talk about.
The TV show. The play.
Mm-hmm.
My stand-up has always been about it. My stand-up has always been about making fun of myself and being playful, and they always said, Comedy Central would say, we don't know what to do with our energy, and they meant it, because I wasn't your typical stand-up. No. And but that being said, I've also had a tremendous amount of success too in the same breath, because they knew I had something, and I had to kind of get a handle on is what happened, because I always thought they were going to get it, because I didn't know that but that's kind of immature. Like, how would they know? I'm the only one who knows what it feels like to be me inside. And people would say they thought I was like, they didn't get it. Even today when I was talking to this guy, and I'm getting very comfortable with like what I'm doing is blowing people's minds, because they're like, I thought you couldn't do that. And so that's the other thing with Watch Me. All day long, so many times, my whole life, people have said, so you can't do that, so you can't do that, so you can't do that, and now I'm like, watch me.
Nice.
Watch me do it.
It almost sounds like a challenge. It's like, you can't do this, you can't do that. Oh yeah, watch this.
It's funny. Maybe they do challenge you because people don't think it's possible though. How would they know? Everybody has a brain set like I'm gonna have the signer, the interpreter, the deaf interpreter at my show.
Yeah, the sign language interpreter.
Yeah, and everybody and this guy today was like, well, how are you gonna do that? Like, what if they mess up, or what if they don't? Will it be funny? Will they understand it? Sarcasm doesn't translate. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, they're deaf, so they at least have to have something. So I don't think the same way that other people think, because I'm so logical. I'm like, what do you mean? Deaf people don't have a place to go to hear comedy all the time, so I'm going to give that to them. And they're like, well, what if the sarcasm? I'm like, sarcasm is the least of the problems. Like, it's so like, but that's what I've come up against because I do stuff where people, their first instinct is, oh, that might not work, or that might not this, or that might not that. And I'm like, watch me do it. And then I realized I have to do it to show people and be like, see, wasn't that hard? And everybody's going to go, oh my gosh, did you see that she had the signer there? And then the deaf people were able to come, and then it's going to help all the people in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Will see that that's possible. So then it starts building on itself. It's not just me anymore. Then that everybody's saying I am Sue Costello, because they're like, you know what? I would like to have a little bit more to do with my community and see people different than I've seen them. Let me do it.
Yeah, I've actually been to like a show or two where they had a sign language interpreter, and obviously, like, it worked for most of the time, but I feel like, I guess this is where the technicality comes in, where like if the comedian is doing like an actual sound, or doing something with an accent, so it didn't always, from what I've seen, it works like 95% of the time, depending on the person's act, but like, your act is 100% transferable to being.
No, I don't.
No?
Oh, I'm just gonna do it. You guys are all so anal. Like, Jesus,
sorry.
I don't know how you get out of bed in the morning. I'm serious. I don't know how people get out of bed in the morning. Look at how your brain just went. It's like, what do you care? It's one night at the Florian Hall. Like, well, I'm gonna try it. And everybody's like, you can't. The sound, the da-da-da-da. How do you even live? This is what I'm talking about.
You're right.
Who cares if it's a mess? It will be like, well, everybody will be able to be like, remember when Sue tried that and it was a mess?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, full on authentic. That's like the theme of today's episode.
But I don't think people even understand what authenticity is yet,
I'm still struggling. I'm reading this book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and it's just all about. It's not really one of those like motivational books. It's more, it just teaches all about just letting go.
And it's a process to let go. I'm saying if I've done it for many, many years. I've worked and I've tested and I've taken care of myself, and I've gone out and I've seen and I've seen how overwhelmed and vulnerable I felt after I revealed myself, and I've taken care. And so I've been doing this and the play has helped me a lot.
Yeah, it feels good. The letting go process is, also cathartic, because it's just
it's freedom. It's the most amazing feeling, because you have your spirit. That's the spirit. That's the am. The am flies through you, and then you're moved by something that's even beyond. So it's like the human condition, not human nature. Human condition is the fear. That's the thing that stops us. Oh, but it won't work. But the sound, but the da 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 da. It's like, oh my God, all of that. That's all fear in our head. That's not real.
Yeah, it's weird how like I started giving a fuck about something that has nothing to do with me.
Yeah. But that's what happens online. That's what happens with people, because they get.
Oh yeah.
It's just fear, and people are like, you can't do that. It's like, but what if that? And when I do something different, that's why I say people tell me you can't do it all the time. When I do something different, it brings up fear in people, because they're like, it's scary, because they're like, you can't. I thought, what? They believe in their head that I can't do it, and I go, okay.
Yeah, this is also like another major theme I want to try to accomplish with this podcast, is try to convince people just to not give a fuck. A little bit less. Like, just give a fuck about the things that matter.
Well, this guy said to me the other day, he said, Sue, because people are starting to describe me now. They're like trying to put a handle on it. They're trying to say what it is. It's my spirit. You're not going to be able to put a handle on it, but you can describe it sometimes. And he said to me, it's like you don't give a fuck so much because you give a fuck so much.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'm trying to wrap my head around that first.
I don't care what people think if I have an interpreter at my show, because I care that much about letting the deaf community come to my show and see what happens. Yeah. So what's the worst? So what? So they write something bad, so it comes off bad. So they say, what? I don't care. I'll just keep being myself. I'll be like, okay, I messed up, and this is what I was trying to do. I apologize. I just keep going, and that's what the play's about. The play's about.
All right, so like the deaf people missed like a joke or two, but that doesn't mean.
But look at all the jokes that they see. What I mean? The
Yeah.
jokes that they don't have always a place to go. They feel very isolated. They don't get. They can't come out. Same thing with a wheelchair. We're gonna have a guy in a wheelchair open. My brother's in a wheelchair. Lately, he's been explaining stuff to me that I would never know.
Oh, speaking of like my buddy Teddy, who is in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
He does not give a fuck. Like,
That's awesome.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I want people to see that. See what I mean? I'm like, who the hell am I? There's some people that are able-bodied that don't even get off the couch, and here's Teddy's going to do stand-up. Go, Teddy!
Yeah.
See what I mean? So I'm turning what everybody thought in their head on its head.
Oh yeah. I mean, Ted's the kind of guy who's like, don't feel bad for me, because like
They don't. Nobody wants to be
Nobody-
pitied.
oh.
Even people who are looking for pity don't really want to be pitied. They don't.
No, nobody wants like a pity party, and like I never understood like poor me. It's like,
Well, sometimes people get caught in it, but it's up to the person who's outside of them to not engage in that, to not pity them, because then we rise them up. And that's the other thing about the play with the eyes and the watch me. I'm really getting to the depths of realizing how much people just want to be seen for who they really are, but people don't really know who they really are. So if I give them freedom, because sometimes people will act crazy or whatever, and I'm able to be like, okay, they just want to be seen. And they'll ask me to do something crazy, and I'll say, okay, we can't do that, but I could do this. Instead of, no. I'm like, I'll hear what the person's asking me. Or I'll say, no, I can't do that right now. And then later on, I might go back to them and be like, you know what? I know you asked me for that, but I couldn't do that, but I can do this. Because it's human connection. I feel so much happier now that I can have relationships with people without being so scared and reacting all the time.
Yeah. Can you recall like that moment where you feel like you kind of crossed that, I guess, that bridge where you felt like, like you feel like free at that point where, like.
It started with stand-up where somebody would heckle me and I'd be able to pause and then I'd turn around and smile. And I'd be like, am I bothering you? And then they would laugh and then they would feel special and I would still handle them. That is one of my best, that's what I can do. And that's what I'm going to do with my TV show is I can help people self-reflect while making them feel very special.
Now, speaking of making people special, can I be in it?
In what? My TV show?
Yes.
What did I tell you on the text? You are. You're going to talk yourself out of being on it. That's what you're going to
do. I just get that look on your face.
You're going to talk yourself out of being on it. I'm going to be like, nope, you can't be on it because you asked me so many times and I told you wait till I have the show.
I know. I just like bugging you over it. So I'm just going to...
No, and you really would like to be on it.
Well, sure, but
everybody's going to want it. I mean, that's what being the boss and running a show, you have to really be able to handle. That's why I'm glad that I worked on these people skills so that I can handle it.
Yeah. It's kind of like that movie Dodgeball with it. It's like, I'm just kidding, but seriously.
Yeah. Right. Of course. And I understand that people will love to be on it, especially when the script gets, people see the script. Everybody's going to want to work on it. They're going to want to be part of it because it is something positive. And it's happy, and it's not all the stuff that we've been in for so many years. I just think people are going to be... I think timing is perfect, too, because I think by the time it hits the air, people are going to be really ready for it.
I feel like... I mean, I don't know what it is, but I feel like by the time it hits the air, like I'm going to see you on Ellen at any point.
On Ellen?
Yeah.
Is that your...
That's
your pinnacle of success?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't call that pinnacle, but I would definitely see... I mean, that's a huge, highlight.
Because I'm like the regular person. I am the person for everybody. So all the girls, I even do that in my stand-up. Like, I talk about being in Hollywood, but I talk about, how I mess up everything. And so all the girls at work and the men who work, at Home Depot or whatever, they're like, oh, Sue's just like me. She just does it in Hollywood. And I've been pitching this idea to Hollywood for a long time. I pitched the talk show version of it. And I'm like, the myth is over. All of it's over. The myth of the power imbalance, it's all over, and they're still trying to hang on to it. I'm like, it's over. The celebrity myth is over. They're all on Instagram. Everybody knows all the secrets and everything. So why don't we just go for it?
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to do it because they don't have the internal authenticity that I have, and that's why I'm very strong with doing my show.
It also is kind of a huge sign of relief to see, Hollywood kind of just implode on itself. Because before, maybe a few years ago, Hollywood was this bright, shining star where all these perfect celebrities would hang out, and they be in these big time blockbuster movies.
But even they aren't perfect, and that's
Of
what people
course.
don't understand, how much pain they are in. And everybody's like, oh, whatever, they make money. It's like, you can say whatever you want to say. Not being true to yourself, I don't care who you are.
I mean, like lying to yourself is just like leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
That's what the play is about. The play is about how many lies I told myself and how it was my brain telling me these things that weren't true and how I had to experience it. That's why it's called The Experience, because everybody wants to read books. They want to talk about it. They want to do podcasts about it. They want to write songs about it. They want to do this. They want to write a book about it. They want to do this. They want to write an article about it. They want to do this. You can't. In order to fundamentally change your nervous system, you have to experience it. You have to put yourself out there and make a mistake and see what happens when that happens in order to do it. The only way out is through.
Yeah. I mean, you can't really be afraid of maybe a few negative comments. Like, here's this thing I did. Oh, that's stupid.
But I've been afraid of it. I've been terrified. And I did it anyways.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know what was reality. It was so painful because I'd be like, and then I'm like, well, I want to have people who have my fans, but I also want to be myself, and I don't want to cave to, and I would be like, and so I had to just do it. I remember my therapist used to make me do my play it wasn't perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And it was excruciating. But then I learned ways to protect myself. I'm like, okay, after my show, I don't talk business. So now I know that.
Yeah.
What do I have to do to take care of myself? After I did my play, I would be very vulnerable, so I had to have a plan to do that. I was like, well, how do I work on it so that people can receive it without abandoning what I'm trying to do? Because I didn't want to, if it made them uncomfortable and they were just telling me to stop just because it made them uncomfortable. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that because I'm trying to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And but if somebody, so then I was like, okay, if somebody tells me, if people tell me something 8 times, then there's probably something to it. Then I have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, I feel like that's whenever somebody says I'm uncomfortable, part of me is like, there should be a reason for that. Like, if you're uncomfortable, ask yourself why. If you're uncomfortable, what is it about this thing? Like, maybe you're at a party and you don't know anybody and you feel uncomfortable. And your party's like, why are you uncomfortable?
They were uncomfortable because they were afraid to put themselves out there, but they'd rather say, I'm uncomfortable, and leave, or have somebody take care of them, instead of having the experience of putting themselves out there. Mm-hmm. But that's what I mean by them trapped inside their own selves. Because then they go home and they're grumpy, they drink, they smoke, they watch TV, and they feel lonely.
Yeah.
So my thing is, you're right. Why am I uncomfortable, and what kind of action can I take to get myself out of this discomfort right now that's not self-destructive, that is self-fulfilling?
Yeah, like say you're at a wedding and everybody's dancing on the dance floor. Like, I am guilty of this, where I do not want to go on the dance floor.
Right, because you're afraid.
Yeah, because whole family's there. Like, look at Tony, he can't dance. But now I'm like, yeah, you're right, I can't.
But look what you did. That all went on in your head. That's what I'm trying. That's what the play is. The play is about everything that went on in my own head and how I was trapping myself.
Yeah, I feel like I should rename this podcast from "Do You Even Laugh" to "Don't Give a Fuck with Me."
Rename it to whatever you want to name it. See, are you looking for validation? Because that's your process. That's what you're working on now. You're trying to get closer to not caring so much about what people think, right?
I'm trying to just cross this whole barrier of, what matters and what doesn't, and why does each of these things matter, and why does the other thing not matter.
But that's authenticity. That's you finding out your own integrity, your own. And then you'll be able to live by your own integrity, which is amazing.
Yeah. It's very freeing. I definitely recommend just, turning off your phone, or don't watch the news.
Or don't gossip.
Don't gossip.
Try not to gossip. If somebody comes up and talks to you about somebody, try not to engage. Just try it for 5 seconds. It's so hard to do because that's how we're trained to connect.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't really benefit anybody.
No, it's self-destructive. That's what I said. Unless it's either self-destructive or self-fulfilling. There's no that's it. Whatever choice you make, it's either self-destructive or self-fulfilling. You're either growing or you're dying. What choice? And it's all up to us to choose.
Yeah, it's definitely very freeing to know that I've been doing this. I've been talking behind people's backs, and then when you just look around at your own life and be like that didn't really help me at all now, did it? No. I mean, if anything, it just made things worse.
It keeps you from doing. One of my favorite sayings is "Mind your business, so you have business to mind."
I like that.
It's really hard to do, though, to put it into practice, to not people please when somebody's talking about somebody, to not abandon yourself, to not. I mean, I've talked about people, and then the person found out, and I felt awful.
Mm.
And this whole idea of like, that's not really who I am. People say that all the time. That's why I did my play too, because I'm like, who are you then?
Mm.
That's not who I really am. Well, that's how you're acting.
How I'm acting?
No, people. I'm saying,
okay.
no, you got all nervous. No, I'm saying, when people say, if they do something, then they go, well, that's not who I really am. It's like, well, who are you really then?
Well, who was that at that moment? Yeah, I mean, like, I've experienced that. I've had people, like, be salty around me. Then part of me is like, just confront this, this a-hole and, like, just bury this now. Or what I've chosen to do is be like, you know what? Let them talk. I don't care. Like, nothing I do or they do has any effect on me in the long run. Like, this guy's not going to block spots from me. This guy's not going to prevent me from getting booked. This guy's not going to...
But even that's all fear. It's like, even making that up in your head, it's like, it's very hard for us as human beings to just be mad for a second and not act out on it, and not get paranoid and not push it down and just be like, because it's actually like, if you try it, like, try to get mad and not do anything about it. You literally, it's like an out-of-body experience. You're like, did anybody see that? When you stop acting out on your feelings and you just hold still, be still, and know that I am, you just start realizing, you go, oh, and then the paranoia comes in, and then you're like, oh my God, they're gonna ruin my job, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. And if you just sit through that, and then you see that it wasn't real, you're like, wow.
Yeah, like you just go down like this downward spiral of irrational fears.
Well, it's fear and it's anger, and we don't know how to have our feelings without acting out on them. So paranoia gets turned inside, and then we start getting scared that they're going to hurt us when we want to hurt them, and nobody knows what's going on. And that's why you always feel like that weird feeling when you're around people. You're like, why do I feel like this? Because nobody knows. Some people are dumping their feelings. Some people are asking you to take care of them. Some people are being mean to you because they feel insecure. And so this is always going on. So this idea of sitting still and being like, okay, and just one little thing I always tell people, just do one thing. Don't try to do a million. Just try one time to be like, all right, next time somebody's mean to me, I'm just going to say, like one of my new favorite things I say to people is, I understand. They call me names. I go, I understand. and you know what's amazing is when people watch me, because it blows their mind. Like even today, so I did AAF, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy called up and he was asking about Crashing on HBO.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Crashing on HBO. With,
so many people were mad about that. They were so mad.
Because he was plugging like a different show.
Yes.
While you were trying to plug yours.
And I was like, oh yeah, I like that show. And it didn't even faze me, because if I let it faze me, then he's accomplishing what he was trying to do anyways. But it wasn't even on my radar. But if that's what he was trying to do, and then everybody saw it, look what happened. And then the people liked me even more because they saw my grace and dignity, and I didn't even...
Yeah, you weren't like, how dare you try...
No, they actually saw what he was doing. That's what I mean by holding yourself still.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they actually saw what he was doing. They said there's a saying, don't argue with a fool, because you can't tell who's who from afar.
Yeah, isn't there also, don't try to out-stupid somebody because they'll beat you with experience or something? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but the don't argue with the fool is easier to understand, because if you're over in the corner,
who is who.
if you start with me and you're wrong and I fight with you, and then we try to tell people will be like, you two were fighting, I don't know what's going on. But because I didn't respond to that guy today, everybody who's listening goes, that guy just called up Sue on her time and talked about another show. Mm-hmm. But if I said to him, oh, you calling me up on my show and my time and talking to me about the other guy's show, might got a laugh, but guess what? That would be who I was, and then I'd have to say, that's not really who I am. And they'd be like, well, that's how he came across. Mm-hmm. And then I'd sell tickets based on that, and then I wouldn't be like that, and everybody'd be like, well, where's the Sue we saw on the radio? And I'd be like, oh, I just did that because I abandoned myself because I was... And then it's a whole spiral.
And to be fair, Crashing is a good show.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, it is a little more exaggerated of, somebody starting out as an open micer. Because, nobody does comedy for 6 months. Next thing you know, you're crashing on Artie Lang's couch.
But even that, I don't even care. I like to talk about my show.
Yeah.
Again, it's gossip.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to engage me in gossip.
Now speaking of which, I'm trying to segue gracefully into the fitness part, but you are a huge yogi. Is that the right word? Now, obviously... 16
years I've been...
16 years?
Yeah.
All right, now I'm a big guy, and I've tried yoga before. I've done it a handful of times. I think when I do it with that P90X, there's like a yoga DVD. Anyway, no, because I'm so big, I'm not as flexible. Like I can't do like Warrior 3 or hold it. And did you ever get when you try to do like Warrior 2 or Warrior 1 and your foot just starts to twitch?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like that's like, your foot is going into panic mode, whereas your brain is like, stop doing that. And it's like yoga's supposed to be stress-free or relieve stress. No, I feel like if I'm doing it wrong, I'm just making it worse.
But that has nothing to do with yoga. That has to do with your perfectionism that we already talked about.
Yes.
And everybody goes to... Nobody likes to be new. Nobody wants to be embarrassed in a class, but most people don't pay any attention. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing. And if they do, who cares? What are they going to say? You look like a loser because you're doing yoga? Whatever. What do you want? The idea of having some internal strength, some internal something, people have to start getting... Somewhere somebody's got to start getting it because it's so crazy. It's out of control now. It's like somebody has to be able to be like, you know what? Oh, whatever. Let them call me a loser. Like, I'm just going to do this. And that's what I hope to show people. Just another thing to look at and say, if everybody can do what they're already doing, but if people are looking for something else to look at, a different way to do things, I want them to be able to look at me. I want them to be able to go, I would like to try to do it. I'd like to try to not be as scared and stressed all the time like Sue is, so I can be available for other people. That would make me feel more connected. And that seems like why we're here on Earth, because otherwise we do just die, and it is terrifying. Like, we got to be here for some reason.
Mm-hmm. I also think like life is too short to be, pissed off or stressed out.
It's an addiction too, though. So is rage. So is anger. It's all an addiction. It's like, think about it. Smoking, when you want to quit smoking and you're still smoking and you're saying, I hate this, and you can't stop. That's the same thing with rage. It's the same thing with fighting. It's the same thing with all the behaviors. It's like, we hate it and we can't stop, but we can stop. That's what people don't realize, is we can stop. We have free will.
And speaking of anger, I think it was funny, you were talking about this earlier, about how your yoga instructor was like really, really upset over the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
This is the guy that's supposed to be teaching you, and yet he can't relax.
No, he couldn't relax. And that was what his talk was about. That's what I mean. So there's no way out. There's no answer anywhere. You can't go to the yoga. Sometimes the class, they took advantage of me at that yoga place. Like, they take advantage. They try to get money. They do everything that's again. And that is some of the most painful stuff that I have to sit with, is like, this place is supposed to be a good place and they're doing bad stuff. Like, that is always so hard for me. But I sit with it, and then I don't go there anymore, or I wait, and then I go back again, because there's no ideal, perfect place.
Yeah, I mean, if they're trying to, that's some bad chi right there.
But yeah. But internally, as long as I don't attach to it, the chi doesn't get me.
There you go.
And that is yoga. So I take the lesson, even though they might be being gross. I'm still getting the yoga, because same thing I started the podcast with. The messenger might be not the best person, but the best deliverer of the message, but the message still counts. So that.
Oh yeah, the message matters more than the person delivering.
And the message could be anything. The message could be, I don't want to be that yoga instructor. I don't want to be somebody who's teaching yoga who sounds angry. So how do I not do that? So that could be my lesson. So you see how if you attach to anything, then it becomes, I don't attach to it. You just make the exact thing that's in front. It's kind of, you're present in every moment.
Yeah. All right, well, this has been like, for the first episode, first guest, I feel like everybody's just going to get all the warm and fuzzies from this
Well, if you're trying to emulate Joe Rogan, this is what he does.
Well, I don't want to necessarily emulate. I mean, he has a good structure. He has a good, pattern or method of how he does his. But, like, I don't want to, like, try to be the next.
No,
I
saying...
just want to make this the best version that I can. I mean, it's my own thing.
Okay,
so
calm down. See, now you're getting nervous and insecure again. I'm saying if you want to emulate what he does, he talks to a lot of spiritual people. He talks to a lot of people about stuff that's not in the mainstream, and he's very successful at it. That's all I meant.
I feel like you're a ref who just like threw out like a yellow flag, like insecurity.
I can do it in 5 seconds. That'll be a funny sketch, because I can pick up on it in 5 seconds now, and it's because I can feel it in my body. And then I just calm people down, and I go, that's not what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I'm saying, if you want to do what he does in terms of, like, he goes outside the box. He finds people that talk. And he's a fitness guy, so it's not so wrong to say that he's someone you look up to. What's wrong with that?
No, nothing. I mean, like, he kind of covers everything under the sun. He talks about everything from comedy to what's in the news to, I don't know, Bigfoot.
Yeah, he talks about like some out there stuff.
Yeah, a lot of like aliens and conspiracy theories. And, yeah, literally everything under the sun. So, we'll see where this goes.
Stay open. We'll have to do another podcast,
definitely.
Because I have to see how you handle it. Because if you're gonna do a podcast with people, you can't get defensive all the time. You have to be the leader.
No. I mean, plus, like, I feel like I need a ref to be like, you're being defensive. 5 yards.
That would be really funny. That was funny. Insecurity.
You're projecting 15 yards.
Really funny. Because that would help people tremendously if they had that every day.
I wasn't projecting.
If they had it,
dismissive.
If they
10 yards.
Denial. If they heard it 8 times, they might get it.
Maybe.
Because it does. They even say that in advertising. People have to see stuff on social media 8 times. Mm-hmm. People have to hear things a lot. People are like, they didn't listen to me. It's like, they're not going to listen to you until like the 20th time. Like, just keep saying the same thing in the same voice over and over again. Maybe they'll get it. Maybe they won't. After the 8th time, maybe you'll want to give up. But you got to give people a chance. Mm-hmm. And then once you give yourself a chance, then you can give people a chance. You're so hard on yourself, so it's hard to be easy with other people.
Yeah, that is another thing I'm going to work at. So, all right, so come along with that journey.
Well, I also trained you to do stand-up, so look at you now.
You did help.
And did I know what I was talking about?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah, you definitely like chiseled away at it. Like, I remember we did like a little workshop, and like I was doing some bit about like trying to eat healthy by constantly being invited to my mom's house because she keeps feeding me pasta and cheese, which is like the antithesis of my diet. And I think you just kept on hammering away, and then I found the funny, and I wasn't even trying to bring it out. I mean, I was, but I wasn't trying to, like, formulate like the actual words. It just came out naturally.
Yes, because we got to your authentic self, the spirit.
It was definitely a helpful, and it's definitely paid off as time has gone on. All right. Well, this just flew by just like that. No,
it did. We could have talked for hours.
Oh, God, we could have. I mean, like, we've had, like, 2-hour conversations.
I know, we're deep. We'll have another one. I'll come back. But I want to see how you're doing after you get some people. Now you have it done. Now you got to get more people and get in there. And then.
Absolutely. All right, so before we go, Sue, just tell people where they can find you.
When is this going to drop?
Within maybe a day or two.
Oh, really?
Maybe within
I'm headlining Florian Hall on March 2nd.
All right.
I want them to go to SueCostello.com. Click the dates, go to March 2nd, and buy the tickets. It's selling out like crazy. I think it's gonna be sold out, packed.
And socials?
I am Sue Costello on Instagram, at Sue Costello on Twitter, Sue Costello on Facebook.
All right. Now, This has been the first episode of Do You Even Laugh? Thank you all for listening.